Wow! Oh my god! Look at that! It's beautiful! It's beautiful! Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bart Coppens. Welcome to the best YouTube channel about butterflies and moths on the internet. Yes, I said it. And today I am back with a magnificent animal. This one we call it a zigzag emperor. But the real question is, can we breed it and document its life cycle? Reportedly, this species is easy to breed, but it can be hard to obtain it in the hobby. Today I have an opportunity to document its life cycle. Let's start the intro. Guys, let me ask you, what are some of the classic elements that you see in a real Bart Coppens video, huh? Repetitive narration? No. Cringy jokes? No. Internet bagging? No. You're close, but you're getting there. It's the life cycles of butterflies and moths, that's right. And today I have a petri dish with baby caterpillars that just hatched from their eggs. And we're about to give them food because they are very hungry and young. Let's get started. So here's the eggs of an African species of moth that are hatching, and which has resulted in a whole army of caterpillars right here. That, my friend, is a lot of caterpillars. And I think they want food ASAP. So I'm going to place them here in the container. Let's see if I can help them a little bit. Wow, that is a lot of babies, man. Like, I see some of them are crawling toward the food now by themselves, but I think they could need some help. If I very gently use a stick to coax them onto the vegetation, that would be great. One tip is don't use your fingers to locate caterpillars. At the lack of better options, I'm just using a stick. It's better than nothing though, so I'm just gonna scoop them up. Yep, let's get you guys out of this petri dish, at least into the new container. Come on guys, get out, get out, get out. Let's put you here. Let's get you guys out of the petri dish right now. Team Zig-Zag, let's go! This is actually my first attempt at breeding this species. Reportedly it is an easy species to breed, but it's difficult to obtain it in the pet trade. In parts of Africa this species is very common, but they are not so commonly exported or farmed by hobbyists. So this is a good opportunity to try something new and unusual. The tiny dark babies are frantically running around. First instars, I'm just keeping them in a plastic box as usual. That's what I typically do on my YouTube channel. Keeping the first instars in a plastic box. And the final instars in cages. In a few days time we'll see how they develop. Next, of course, then I check back several days later. Hey guys, it's time to look at the Gonimbrasia tyrrhea and see how these animals are doing. Aha! Very interesting. Yeah, we have to clean this. It turns out that they poop a ridiculous amount. Let's carefully take them out. I will clean the container later. Well, this is a bit silly. I've given them several species of plants to eat, so they can choose their favorite one. But instead of choosing a favorite, they're just eating everything. Sweet gum? No problem. Oak tree? No problem. Sumac? No problem. Well, at least I know that they aren't very picky. Well, so far so good. Why not? And as usual, I check back several days later. Just came out of the shower. Don't judge my hair. But we're going to take a look at our Gonimbrasia and how they're doing. Some very interesting stuff. For sure it seems that they have grown, because this should be the second instar now. Instar number 2 of Gonimbrasia tyrrhea. Fascinating. If we look here at the plant, we actually see there's many caterpillars here that's feeding. Interesting. Some of them are choosing to feed on the oak tree. Others choose the sweet gum. But whatever angle we approach it from, one thing is very clear. They are certainly growing. Wow, look at that, guys. There's a lot of caterpillars in here, isn't it? Yeah, there are. Well, that's good. That makes me happy so far. That's a good sign. That's what we want. That's what we want. Many caterpillars. Very cool. Whoa, that's so cool. This must be instar number 3 then. They're starting to develop rather unusual color patterns. I wonder what they will look like once they are fully grown. Raising them so far has not been difficult. It's my first time ever with this species and I hope everything works out. That was the short update for today. think tomorrow I'm going to upgrade the enclosure, but for today it's one more day in a place like this should be fine. Just let them feed a little bit more and then I will transfer them to a bigger enclosure, I think, because this is getting already small for so many caterpillars. And then we check several days later. Alright folks, I did change the setup of the Gonimbrasia tyrrhea a little bit. But the only thing I changed was placing them in a slightly bigger container. Can you see it? It's pretty much still the same setup. But I was like, let's give them a little bit more space, and that's what I did. Otherwise it's still the same, still plastic box with paper towel, with oak tree and sweet gum, and they seem to be enjoying both. Let's see how they're doing. As you can see, they are developing a pale white complexion. Interesting, let's keep going. I noticed that they need a bigger enclosure, so I decided to move them into that. Yep. Well, that's easy, isn't it? I think it is. I think that was easy. So far. So, I decided to move them into a larger enclosure. Wait for it. Next. Of course, then I checked back several days later. Guys, it's the middle of the night. I'm a bit tired, but still working with my caterpillars. Okay, sorry if this isn't filmed very professionally. I mean, it's just YouTube, right? But I hope you guys understand. I'm a bit too tired, too lazy to do this professionally. Anyway, the good news is I'm upgrading the caterpillars to a huge enclosure. Can you see? It's huge. And we'll see how they're doing later, tomorrow when we have better daylight. But here's some of our caterpillars, of our larvae, and I'm just taking the larvae, placing them here inside what I think is a much better and bigger enclosure. I think that in here they can really thrive. So that's the update for right now. I know it's a bit silly, but there you go. Okay. That's it, just short update. I'll show you how they're doing tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, first thing I do, promise. Now I'm gonna sleep. Notice that the caterpillars had grown really significantly bigger. Let me show you the progress on this beautiful species. How are the Gonimbrasia doing? Whee! It's time to take a look. To answer that very question, let's see. Aha! Very interesting. Huh? Instar number 4. Did you expect the caterpillars of these awesome moths to look like this? I hope you guys are as excited as I am to see all these life cycles. It is genuinely hard work to make so many moth videos and to make them entertaining at the same time. For a small audience, all the time, hundreds of videos. Next, of course, then I checked back several days later. Oops, I don't know if you can see it, but I accidentally broke the container. And now there's a freaking hole in the lid. I probably have to buy a new one. But then again, I figured why not keep it as a ventilation hole? Why not? I'll probably cover it up with something like netting or something. Oh, caterpillars are doing well though. Wow, I like it. It's my first time seeing these caterpillars and it's pretty amazing. Their color is black and something in between white and blue, if you ask me. They seem to appreciate being sprayed a little so they can drink sometimes. Just make sure it can dry out. In terms of food, they are not picky at all. They can eat sweet gum, willow, cherry, oak tree, acacia, albizia, robinia, sumac and honestly a ton of plants. I keep the caterpillars indoors at all times in a box. Don't be fooled because I film them outdoors. That's just because my camera has a better lighting outdoors. Well folks, so far the Gonimbrasia tyrrhea are doing just excellently. They seem to be pigs, they eat just about anything. Cherry, oak, sweet gum. But what's really interesting is they don't care about switching food plant. I can give them a different fruit plant each time and they will eat it. Other Saturniids don't like this. What's the noise? Always if I'm filming there's... Let me just show you close up. Well guys, it looks like the moths are quite healthy so far. Really interesting white caterpillars as you can see. Unusual species, you don't see it in the hobby that often. Gonimbrasia tyrrhea. Interesting moth. I'm happy I decided to raise some. I also realize in MothCycles we don't have enough African species, like we have a lot of species from the United States. And we have some South American Saturniids in MothCycles, but African Saturniids are kind of lacking, so I'm going to work on that. I'm going to raise more species from Africa soon and film all the life cycles. Very fascinating. I'm gonna leave them alone. Right now they're on sweet gum. I think I'm going to add a little bit more oak tree later because they really like oak as well. And it's good to give these a mix. They are super polyphagous. So yeah, there you go folks. Doing pretty well. It's been a while since we had some cool African stuff. But here you go. Don't know if you can even see the larva. They're definitely in here. Oh yeah, here you can see some of them. See how pale and white they are. And at the moment, I've kind of got many of them, as you can see. Very curious, very interesting. Hope this breeding goes well. It's fascinating. Let's get some shots in here. Oh, this is a good shot. Now you can definitely see a lot of the larvae. Can you see it? Quite large, quite pale and white. Very unusual, not a Saturniid that many people have ever raised. But of course I'm one of those people, duh. Of course Bart Coppens is gonna raise it. Here. What? That's awesome, right? This species loves sweet gum. Sweet gum is really a magic plant for silk moths most of the time. Alright, let's check how the zigzag emperors are doing. Can you see them? They're growing pretty well, and I think they're entering now the final instar. Give them a few more weeks and maybe they're getting close to pupating. Would be nice. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to look at our Gonimbrasia tyrrhea, and my gosh, I noticed some of those caterpillars here are getting really big. Can you see this one? It's black and white. It's sitting here on the branch. As you can see, there's quite a few of them here. There's more of them here in this container. What? Yeah, this requires some examination. Because this is actually a really cool species so far. Let's bring the camera a bit closer. Oh yeah. It's obvious we got a lot of them. I haven't actually counted, you know something that's funny, I actually rarely count how many caterpillars I have. I have something against counting and I don't know why. It's because being obsessed with the numbers gives you more stress. Because each time you're gonna count all your caterpillars and how many you have left, and you're gonna obsess about having a perfect result. There you go. So let's zoom in on those. Ooh. So slowly they are really getting to respectable sizes, as you can see. This one is not fully grown yet, it's going to be even bigger, but it's getting there. I do think this is the final instar, but it's not fully grown. It's going to eat for a few weeks. and then it's going to be fully grown. So think about this size is about fully grown, but add a few extra centimeters, right? I think this caterpillar is about 80% of its true potential size. Wow, that was a pigeon making that strange noise. So in the sunlight they look really cool. Such cool larvae. Yeah. I would have raised this species before if I could, but it's actually, since recently, is the first time I've seen them in the hobby. It's kind of like a new species of moth in the hobby. Funny thing is, in parts of South Africa, this species is very, very, very common. I think some people even consider this species to be a pest, because they are so super common and they are defoliators. They can strip all the trees of their leaves in the wild in Africa. So don't worry though, they have no chance of surviving in the Netherlands. I don't let my pets escape, but even if I did, ethically it's pretty okay to raise them in captivity. They are not an invasive species. So, but it's really cool. It's also funny to think how some species in the hobby, breeders consider them to be rare, but if you live in their habitat in the wild, you realize they're actually quite common and widespread. Really nice. So I'm gonna look at some of them. So clearly not all of them are fully grown, because here I see some larvae that are a bit smaller, a little bit behind in size. I think this one is even shedding its skin. So there's a mix of Instar 6 and Instar 5 caterpillars. Yeah, I do believe these have 6 instars. We have to be careful here not to knock over everything. So this one also has a nice size, doesn't it? Yeah, you are beautiful, my man. Yeah, I don't think they're very far from pupating. I say about 2 weeks time. Maybe even a bit less for some of the biggest ones to start pupating. That's good. Just look at how many we have. Alright. So clearly it is full of larvae in here. Great. This is not even all my caterpillars, but it's a significant amount of them here in the sweet gum. Let's just quickly turn it around. You can see, I think we have about a dozen. Some of them are trying to escape, crawling down. Can you see it? And if we look in the vegetation, in the foliage, we can see there's a really nice amount of them. If we look deep here in the tree, we see even more caterpillars. It's a little bit hard to show you, they are very chaotic. And so am I. Can you see it? Really nice Nudaurelia larva. Also in here, if we lift up some of the leaves, can you even see it? Can you? Yeah. See that? Man, that's difficult to show, but hope you get the idea. The point is they're doing well, it seems, so far. And I'm happy with that result. So far so good. I am happy with the result so far. I would be happy if I get more than 10 pupa of this moth. The trickiest part of breeding them is actually not raising the caterpillars, it's pairing the moths. They can emerge from their pupa in a way that is not very synchronized, so having a male and female out at the same time can be difficult sometimes. So I say to have a good chance of pairing, you gotta have at least 10 pupa. Preferably a bit more. Next, of course, then I check back several days later. Hey guys, we're gonna take a look at the tyrrhea. My hair always looks questionable, doesn't it? Always. Anyway, we're gonna take a look at our babies because there are some updates. Well, first of all, just look at how big they are. Oh my god. That's massive. Whoa. Such big caterpillars. Just let me compare this one here to my hand. Wow, that's very big. That's a good amount. Fantastic. Look at that. Here's more of them even. Dude, this is crazy. Look at them. That is fantastic. They are so big. Such crazy and impressive caterpillars. Wow. This is what all of us do it for. This is what I'm working hard for, to see such impressive and awesome creatures. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, the caterpillars of Gonimbrasia tyrrhea are really crazy. They're very restless creatures. They like to wander a lot. And they feed a lot. Feeding this small group of caterpillars cost me more energy than taking care of several other species, because they eat so much. And it's really cool how they are this gorgeous black and white. Even when they're fully grown, they're not camouflaged. They're actually very conspicuous. It's very easy to notice them. You have to be careful though, because when they are upset, their defensive reaction is to vomit. Yeah, that's gross. Either way, I am once again having a very good result, with once again a very unusual species in the moth breeding hobby that you don't see very often. And the amount of species that I'm going to raise in captivity on this channel are going to get bigger. They are going to get crazier, more unusual, more rare. Stay tuned. This is really great. Look at their amazing colors. Wow. Such weird big caterpillars. However, this is not the big news that I wanted to share with you. The big news is that when I opened the paper towel, I noticed that one of the caterpillars here has made a cocoon. Now, I have to say a disclaimer. This species doesn't really make a cocoon. Instead, this is a species that burrows underground, and they build an underground chamber. And they really use a few strings of silk. Can you see the silk here? But this caterpillar is effectively pupating. It has built like this underground chamber in the paper towel. And that's actually why I included the paper towel. So that means this caterpillar is fully grown and it's ready to pupate. And when it turns into a pupa, that's basically the last life stage before it turns into a moth, right? So that means the caterpillars are actually full size and fully grown. I'm gonna take this paper, I'm gonna put it in the enclosure here. I'm gonna keep it apart so it can pupate in peace. Do not disturb it. Yeah, but that's fantastic, isn't it? That's really cool. So it means one of the first caterpillars is completely fully grown. Now these other caterpillars are not fully grown yet. Most of them are still eating. But I think in about within 2 weeks all of these will have pupated. There's not much time left. Their development is almost completely finished. And that's good news. I think we're gonna pull it off. We're very close to succeeding. It's good news for me and it's good news for you, because it means you get to see your favorite web series MothCycles. Unless it's not your favorite. Maybe I'm just like your plan B YouTuber. Anyway, it is good news because this is a species I always wanted to raise and film his life cycle. It's like a dream. There you go. Yep. Let's wait several days and then check back and see if more are starting to pupae. Another day, another update. Updates are happening fast now because they're becoming very high maintenance. There you go. Let me take it out. So the larvae have done their best to defoliate a lot of the plants here. Oh my god. So do you guys want to see how much caterpillars can poop in 3 days time? Warning, this is going to be gross. You may want to skip this, but it's reality. So, this is caterpillar poop. This is 3 days worth of caterpillar poop. That's insane. And as you can see, it grows moldy if you don't clean it. Now this is just 3 days time. It grows moldy really fast because of it's very warm right now in summer. And it's humid. So we're gonna remove this. That's gross. Oh my. Growing really big, aren't we? Ooh. That's fantastic, yo. Growing really big, huh? Yeah. You're going to be an awesome and large moth. For that I am happy. Oh yeah. Look at how big this one is. This is one of my biggest caterpillars right now. It's cool, huh? Very big caterpillars. At this point, they are a lot of maintenance. I didn't find any new pre-pupas today, unfortunately. That would be nice. But who knows? Oh, look. So nice. So big. Anyway, you've seen them before. I don't think I have to show you more close-ups. That was it right now. Just showing you that I have to clean the food once in a while. There you go. No pre-pupa. Would be nice if more of them started pupating, because right now they're very high maintenance. And I want them to pupate so that I have room for more new species. There you go. Clean cage, clean environment, clean and sanitized. That's important. Remove the poo. Keep the enclosure clean. Yes. Fantastic. We got ourselves an awesome update because the first caterpillar of the Gonimbrasia tyrrhea has pupated. Let me check the pupa. Here it is, straight from this container. This is going to be the first pupa out of many, but the first pupa for me is always a happy and exciting moment, because it means the most difficult part, which is rearing the insect, is over. Now, of course, not all of them have pupated. Many still have to pupate, but this is progress, and I'm happy. I am happy. Once again, the caterpillars have eaten all their food in just 3 days. Like everything. See, not a single leaf here is left. It's all gone. So, one thing, guys, that you need to know is this stuff is hard work, man. I know it's a hobby. Hobbies are supposed to bring fun. It's bringing me a lot of fun, I can tell you that. But, you know, the fun is hard fought. You need to do a lot of effort for a good result. You know? Think of those Olympic athletes and you wonder why they're doing it. Does it really bring you fun to train? To swim 7 hours a day to become the best swimmer in the world? And they would probably say yes, even though it's tough. Of course, I don't want to compare breeding moths with being an Olympic swimmer. It's absolutely not the same. But I thought it was a nice metaphor, you know. It's the stress that makes it fun, it's the high stakes, it's the fact I'm out here working every day, taking care of the animals. Sometimes species that are very challenging or difficult to breed, you know. It is a lot of work every day, getting up, getting new plant. Yeah, I'm not saying it's a super tough hobby, but there is work involved here, man. So, what I just did is I emptied the container and I found 3 caterpillars. And these 3 caterpillars, they are shriveled up. Can you see it? They're kind of dried out. And they are not moving. What's happening here? Don't worry, they're not dead. They just want to pupate. This is one of those silk moths that shouldn't be called silk moths, but they're from the emperor moth or silk moth family. But not all silk moths actually spin silk. Some of them don't make a cocoon. This is one of them. In the wild, the caterpillars burrow under the ground, like in the root system of trees or just in the soil. And they pupate right there. And there's actually a nice amount of silk moths that don't make silk cocoons. Some famous example is the rosy maple moth, the hickory horn devil. They don't make cocoons. The caterpillar just goes underground, pupates there. No silk involved. Same for this species. So that's why I let them pupate here in a soft tissue paper. It's a soft, nice substrate for them. They can relax in there. So the box will capture some humidity. There you go. If we check back later, we're gonna find even more pupa. At the same time, I'm gonna get the caterpillar some new food. As you can see, many of them are still out here growing, but we are nearing the finish line. Several started pupating already. That's good news because that means less mouths to feed. Every caterpillar who pupates is one less caterpillar I have to take care of right now, so it's already getting easier. Wow guys, we have less caterpillars now. So there's 4 of them who is already pupating. But doesn't change the fact we still have a fair amount of them left. Man, they're gorgeous, dude. Just look at how big they are. You can see the kind of the difference between males and females, because male caterpillars are a little bit smaller. Of course, there's also intraspecific variation. They overlap in size, but generally the really biggest larvae are most of the time are the females in this case. Females produce eggs, so they need more weight, more body mass. Wow, such a very, very, very cool species. This species is not commonly available in the moth breeding hobby, so if you can get pupa or eggs, do it. At least in Europe and North America, you don't see many breeders who are capable of breeding this species. It's funny because in South Africa it's a super common species, but I guess not many people go there to find material from these countries, which is a shame. If you import animals though, make sure you do it legally. In many countries you need a permit to ship exotic insects. Don't smuggle insects without a permit. Where I live it's legal. Righty then, let's put them back one by one. Da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Let's put you back one by one. There you go. Come on, guys, eat. You have fresh food. I think this could be the last time I'm feeding them. So I think most of these caterpillars are really near finish line right now. I think in like 3 days, half of them are pupating. Now some of the caterpillars, like this one, are still a little bit smaller than the rest, but that's okay. They catch up in size really fast in the final instar. So it's not gonna be an issue. Wow, fantastic, huh? Woo. Another awesome species by the sexy moth king himself, Bart Coppens. Awesome. I'm really happy. This hobby makes me so happy when you succeed. It's so satisfying. Of course, don't count your chickens before they hatch. Don't count your caterpillars before they moth. Still have to pupate successfully. Yeah, bro, let's check back soon, huh? We know the drill by now. Not much words necessary. They're growing well in a plastic box. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, the caterpillar started pupating. Spoiler alert. Let me show you the next step. Every day, more and more of the Zig-Zag emperor moths start pupating, and every day I collect the pre-pupa. Let's, oh my god, expose my armpit hair there. Whoopie-doopie-doo. It's all natural, baby. This is gonna be real easy. Just open up this little box here. Ah, yeah, Warsteiner. So, as you can see, some of the last pre-pupa have already pupated, like this is the pupation box. I put the caterpillars here basically on a substrate of moist paper towels, and don't worry, if they turn black, it doesn't mean that they're dead. As you can see, this one is moving, see that? So before they pupate, it's interesting, they break down all the pigments. They become black. And to some people it may give them the impression that they're dead. These are not dead, they're doing very well. So here, if you're very careful, yeah, see another pupa? Looks like this is the pupa of a small male. A small male. See? And what else do we have? Did you pupate as well? No. So this is a very big pre-pupa. I think this is going to be a large female. So let's see. If we just pull away the paper towel here, like it reveals several larvae that are ready to pupate. Now I said this before, but I really like repeating myself because I'm like Cleverbot. I'm not really human. So these things don't spin a cocoon, so don't expect to collect cocoons, expect to collect pre-pupa larvae. Take the pre-pupa larvae, place them in a plastic container. Now you can use many things. You can use soil. For some species you can even use vermiculite, humid moss, grass. Just make sure it's damp. So we're gonna, look at that. There's more in here. There you go. Oh, look at that. Ooh, it's a big one. That's nice. Oh look guys, there is another pupa. See that? Let's see. Yeah, this one is so much bigger. Actually, it looks like these are two males. See that? These are literally two males. So now you can see we have a small male and one really big male. I see the antenna, both are males. But some caterpillars are just a lot bigger than their brothers and sisters. This is normal. Variation is normal. They're animals, they're not robots, they're not products. So that's really cool. If you rear moths, you're always going to get a selection of big ones, small ones, you know, the variation is what makes insects cool. Yeah. So how many caterpillars do we have left here then? So, oh, this is a big one. Oh, this is probably gonna be a big female. So the males and females of this species are sort of similar in size, but the males are slightly smaller. There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. You are number 5. That's it. Actually. Yeah, I think that's it. 5 caterpillars left. That's not much at all. Including one really big one. I think this is probably the biggest one. That's cool, man. And I think these gonna pupate too very soon. Is Bart Coppens capable of breeding the zigzag emperor moth? The answer is duh. I'm the sexy moth king himself. I can breed everything and I'm gonna prove it, you know. I'm not just gonna talk shit on YouTube, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you how I can breed literally everything. Oh, okay, sorry for the arrogance, you know. I just got a little confidence boost. Ooh, so it seems like all my larvae have pupated. And we can already see a huge size difference between the pupa. Like, just compare this really small pupa with this super big one. And that's because the females of this species are bigger than the males. But I think this one is also really just like a dwarf, a runt. So we have a nice size variety here. Let's see. Yeah, these are males. Like, the males really are significantly smaller. That's not surprising. Like, that's the case with the majority of silk moths, actually. Almost every species have smaller males. But it's funny that the difference is so obvious, so we have to be careful. What's interesting about the pupa of Gonimbrasia, Nudorelia, Pseudombrasia, anything Bunea, anything from the Buneanid tribe, is that the pupa are very strong. They have very thick shells. Can you see it? They are really armored pupa. Most Saturniidae pupa, I would say, are even fragile if you don't handle them carefully. But these things are like, damn, you know, they have like they're really armored. These are like the Iron Man of moth pupa. Just look at that, one happy family. And these are the caterpillars we raised together on YouTube. Let's carefully place them here. There you go. This may be disturbing to see for some people, but it's not for me. It's fascinating. It's maybe even beautiful. These are the empty larval skins. Like, when the larvae turn into pupa, they crawl out of their own skin. And these are literally the empty caterpillar skins that they left behind when they turn into these pupa. Well, people, this is some of the result. We have a mix of some very large healthy pupa and some smaller ones. There's a very interesting size variation going on here. That's actually very unusual. I haven't seen that very often. So what are we going to do with these pupa? I'll show you next, okay? I'm gonna show you next. Now, the moths will have trouble climbing the slippery plastic walls, so I like to add a stick. The stick is like what the moths use to escape the container if they choose to emerge. So, what do we do with the pupa? Let me show you. This is my cocoon and pupal cage, can you see? And now I am going to place the moth in my cocoon and pupal cage. Can you see all the cocoons I have and all the pupa here in the back of many species of moths? So I'm going to place them here on room temperature. And now I'm essentially going to wait for the moths to come out. And if they don't come out until December, then I will decide to sort of hibernate them, because then I think they're going to be the spring generation. There you go. I decided to keep the pupa warm or room temperature. And I just waited and waited for many months for moths to come out. Let's see how that went. Many months slowly went by. But I didn't see any moths coming out yet. Then I did some reading and research and I had a revelation. But then I started educating myself about this species and reading. And I actually found something very interesting. This species needs to hibernate. What? An African species that hibernates? Yes. So this species occurs in a mostly warm Mediterranean climate with mild, moderately wet winters. and dry and warm summers. But what's really interesting, where this species is mostly found in the wild, which is the South African Cape, is a place where they from June to September, for example in Cape Town, actually has cooler temperatures. That's right. Cape Town experiences cooler temperatures from about 9 degrees Celsius to 17 degrees Celsius from June to about September, which is more or less their equivalent of winter. And interestingly, it seems that in captivity, if you really want to synchronize the pupa, they also need a short, cold hibernation for optimal success. Now, I don't know what happens if we don't hibernate them. I've done some reading and I found that the species can have up to 2 generations in the wild. But mostly, most of the time it has 1 generation, and the second brood is optional. But basically what happens is the pupa actually have a soft hibernation in cool temperatures. And it turns out that South Africa and the area and the South African Cape is one of the only places in subtropical Africa with a temperate Mediterranean climate. South Africa is a fascinating place and I always wanted to visit it. Maybe it will happen one day. I love South Africa. It has such cool animals and wildlife. But the point is, in captivity it's recommended to keep the pupa cool for several months. Let me show you how I hibernated them. At this point it's in the middle of winter. Everything is cold and frozen. Such a boring season. And my pupa were hibernating now. Don't believe it? Well, I had them in my basement. Please don't expose them to freezing temperatures. Folks, this is where I hibernate the pupa in the basement. Let's open this container here. And as you can see here I have containers with vermiculite. And in the vermiculite there are pupa. I store the pupa here. Here's one of the Zig-Zag emperor moth pupa. Can you see it? I bury it here in the vermiculite. And here my basement is pretty cold in winter. Usually between 12 to 15 degrees Celsius. And you may be shocked to learn that I hibernate tropical African species. Well, don't generalize the whole continent. Yeah, this is a cocoon of Argema mimosa, the African moon moth, and they can also tolerate these temperatures. You'll be interested to learn that species from Africa can in some cases have a type of dormancy under cool, dry temperatures here in my basement. I'm not sure if they have to be dry. I just keep them dry here to prevent fungus. But yeah, they are hibernating. These are hibernating pupa. And they are going to come out next spring. Because I found out that South Africa actually has more of a Mediterranean and temperate climate. But keep them frost-free, guys. They hate frost. Yeah, this paper says cocoons hibernate. Please don't throw them away. It's for my parents, so they don't throw the box away. Wow. Yep, like a Dutch person, my basement is full of bicycles. Then winter pretty much went by in the Netherlands. And then there was spring. Sunshine, flowers, blue skies. Looks like spring has arrived in the Netherlands. After keeping the pupa of the Zig-Zag emperor cool and cold for a really long time. Finally in spring it was time to take them out and put them back on room temperature. This could trigger the emergence of a moth. After spring I took the pupa from my basement, I warmed them up on room temperature And after several months of waiting, they came to life. And I was amazed. Ladies and gentlemen, in the house of Bart Coppens, beautiful moths are hatching every day. So this is the cage where we have our cocoons, and we have to be careful because a bunch of moon moths that I am studying have just come out. So I am studying these because these moths, they seem to have traits of both Actias sinensis and Actias sinensis, and we're trying to study them to find out what they are. They're from an interesting population, but these are not the moths that I'm filming. I'm just putting it away because, as you can see, you have to be careful not to damage them. But this is what I really wanted to show you, because emerging from the container of pupa, I saw something incredible. We have the first zigzag emperor, and we must be careful because this species, it goes crazy when they're touched. Wow, there you go. Now this species is really super stressed, and this is actually normal for many African silk moth species. The thing about tropical Africa is there are so many predators. The moths, they have to be really careful of bats and birds trying to eat them constantly, so they are very hyper vigilant. What? Please don't hurt yourself. Look at how amazing it is though. Let's get our first glimpse. Wow! It is amazing, but it's crazy as well. Its behavior is insane. This is very typical of Nudarelia, Gonimbrasia. These moths are very easily stressed. Don't worry, friend, I am not here to hurt you, I'm here to study you. Oh. Hopefully it will sit on my hand. Yes! Oh, no. Maybe my enthusiastic screams did scare it. Oh my god, yes, here it is. And now you can see why this is called the Zig-Zag Emperor, because it has beautiful zigzag patterns all over its wings. Now the indoor lighting isn't bringing out its beautiful colors, because on the hind wings it has two bright pink purple eye spots. But the lighting is very poor, as you can see, but tomorrow we'll bring it out to show you its full colors in daylight. But this is our first impression. It looks like our first specimen is a small male. And he is beautiful. Wow. Look at those gorgeous colors. This is one amazing species. Now let me give you a fun fact. In countries like South Africa, this is a super common silk moth. They can be so common that they swarm the trees and defoliate all the leaves from the trees. I'm not even joking. So from an entomological perspective, this is also a very important species to the environment. It plays a role in forest ecology. And this is why I wanted to study it. And the moon moths are going crazy too, so we have to isolate them. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, carefully and tactfully I just had to remove the moon moths to have their own enclosure now. Because those moon moths, they like to steal the show. They like to steal the attention away from other species, you know. They're such a dramatic species. But this is the species that we've been raising all the time. From egg to moth. Remember when they were babies? This is the species that we have been raising. And you have to be really careful because they flip out really fast. But it's so beautiful. Like the gorgeous zigzag patterns on this species. Really are out of this world, but I feel like I should stop harassing it at night. I feel like we should check back tomorrow. Because then we can bring it out in daylight and get better colors. So let's wait until tomorrow, until I can show its real colors. I need daylight to make best use of my camera, but it's good to know the first one already came out. Well, here it is, ladies and gentlemen, one of the moths that we have been raising. And finally a nice shot in daylight. Gonimbrasia tyrrhea. Don't forget the name, the beautiful and amazing Zig-Zag Emperor. Now in daylight we can really appreciate some of its colors and its beauty. Because just look at that. How incredibly amazing, isn't it? African moths can be so beautiful. Wow. Aren't these patterns out of this world? It is incredible. One of the prettiest moths I've ever seen. It's so zigzaggy. It looks like it's embroidered. I don't know how to pronounce that. My native language is not English. But it's amazing. Finally, let's have a close look at our baby in daylight. This is perhaps one of the best species I've raised so far in the series MothCycles. Its color, its pattern is literally blowing my mind. It is so beautiful, dude. Wow. Let's see if we can get a close-up. Alrighty then, let's wait until more of them come out, because we raised many of them. This is just one of the first. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where I keep some of my pupae and cocoons. Yeah. But today, another moth has come out, another one. Uh-oh, this one is it's beautiful. It looks like we have a smallish male, but a nonetheless very beautiful male. Wow, I'm so impressed. But the male that hatched today is a very small one, even for this species. Captivity, you tend to get a lot of size variation. Oh, he's beautiful. Guys, it's so annoying because these moths, they bounce around. Ah! Bro, just look at that. It's perfection. It is absolute perfection. Wow. Look at it, guys. Now, what I'm really hoping though is that we can get a male and female at the same time, of course. That would be great. So that would mean we can pair the babies, which is my goal. But I'm not mad about these moths coming out. What? Now guys, in countries like South Africa this moth is super common. But in captivity they can be hard to obtain, and I'm not sure why. Despite being very beautiful and very common in a lot of African countries, they are hardly ever exported to Europe or the United States. And they're easy to breed too, in my opinion. So if you ever see pupae or eggs for sale of this species, grab the opportunity, guys. Because you may not get another chance. Oep. Want toen kon ik altijd mijn eigen films downloaden en we konden Dragon Ball kijken en andere series. Maar nu moeten we alleen de rotzooi uitkiezen die op Netflix is, maar dat is gewoon poep vaak. Ja. Netflix is achteruit gegaan, vind je niet? Ja. Kwaliteit, maar ook... Alright guys, I'm gonna put this small male back into his enclosure, his cage. Oh, this life cycle is very close to being finished. All that we need, guys, all that we need right now is for a female to come out so I can mate them. But that's the hard part, because it's hard to synchronize Gonimbrasia species in captivity sometimes. Sometimes the males and females emerge very far apart. I would hate it if that happens, but it's a risk. Well, you can guess what happens next. The males died. These moths have a very short life. 3 to 7 days. I'm not joking. For a moth this big, they actually have a very short life. Usually 3, 4, 5. More rare 6 or 7 days. Especially the females, but it's short. Usually silk moths that are this big, they live for like 2 weeks, but these have a really short life. So when the female come out, the males were of course dead. I'll show you anyway. Wow guys, today I'm pleased because I actually had a very large individual come out. This is a very big female. It seems that in my breeding there is a lot of size variation. Some of the moths I raised are very small and some are very big. That's interesting to see this variation. But this is one of the prettier ones. Oh, this is a beautiful specimen. This is probably the most beautiful one I raised so far. Wow, look at it. So guys, I want to tell you, raising the Zig-Zag emperor moth has been very easy. They're very easy to raise. Pairing them is also not hard if you have a male and female at the same time. The main challenge when breeding this species is getting males and females out at the same time. I'm working hard to synchronize them, and I have a feeling it's going to happen. So don't you worry, it's not a difficult species. But where most people fail when they want to breed this awesome insect, where most people fail, is basically the mating. Raising them from egg to moth is, in my opinion, very easy. Very easy to do. If you have a basic experience with silk moth breeding, it's gonna be easy for you to raise them. Just keep them warm and humid. That's what they like, it seems. And they all make it. They eat many plants, oak tree, sweet gum, acacia, they love it. So it's a great species. As you can see, they can be big. Haven't measured the wingspan yet, but it's a biggie. It's a big one. Are you guys impressed? Are you guys impressed by my moth? No? Well, maybe you are just too neurotypical to appreciate it. But I'm impressed. Let's hope that we get males and females out at the same time soon, though I'm sick of having single individuals. This is probably the biggest individual I reared so far. I noticed their size has been really variable. We had some individuals who were almost dwarfs, but this one is a very big size, I'd say almost above average. And this one is actually a proper big female. So just to show you how big it is, they can cover almost my face. You have to be careful. Don't worry, I never let my moths escape or fly away. I know exactly how to handle them. Anyway, let's put the moth back into his cage here. Whee! And hopefully there will be a male, probably not, but you never know. But if I don't get pairings, I'm still gonna upload the video because we still got a cool life cycle of a cool species. The really cool thing is, I had a male for the female. Oh, finally we got a pair out. This is what I've been waiting for. Let me show you. Here is a crude map that I have drawn of the Zig-Zag emperor, or Gonimbrasia tyrrhea. It is found in South Africa, very small parts of Namibia and Lesotho. In South Africa it is found in the Transvaal Highveld, the Orange Free State, and the East and Southwest Cape Province, in the Makaland and Richtersveld. Show you guys the difference between male and female in captivity. Don't worry guys, I know how to handle moths, this does not hurt them. I know exactly what to do, I'm an expert. So here I have a male and a female. And the fundamental differences are the genitals. As you can see, males have two hooks on their abdomen. They're called claspers or valves in butterflies. And the female, she has an egg-laying tube for laying eggs. The male will use his claspers to hang on to the female, but the biggest difference is the antennae. Can you see the difference? Sorry for handling them like this, don't worry, they're completely fine and unharmed. So the male has thick feathery antennae, although they are already a bit damaged because this male is a few days old, so some of the antennal spines are missing. But you can still see the difference. The female, she has thin antennae, they are like small strings, while the males are kind of like feathers. Big difference, so these could mate tonight. I have another couple out. I think these are some of my last moths. Let's place them in their cage, in their enclosure. They only live for a few days. So here's to hoping they will make passionate love and lay many, 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 many eggs for me. That would be fantastic. And just the day after that, they had laid eggs. You see, last night the first female that we had has laid a lot of eggs. I don't know if you can see it, it's hard to show you. But these are the eggs. But the way she laid these eggs is suspicious. There you go. Usually females, if they are unfertilized, they don't lay such huge clumps of eggs. They lay more sparingly. So the female dumping these huge amounts of eggs all at once in one night, that does mean it's an indicator that maybe there was a pairing. So I'm just gonna keep these eggs for myself. As I place them in a petri dish. There's more eggs too. This male managed to rip off his own forewing. I don't know how he did it, but maybe he is in no condition to mate anymore. Oh my god, look at the damage. Yeah, that's very unfortunate. When moths grow old in captivity, they can get extremely damaged. It's a little bit upsetting to see sometimes. Especially males are very active because they are the ones who have to fly a lot to find the females. Oof, that's a very broken male. But we had another female last night. She is very gorgeous. Wow! Look at how beautiful she is. Look at how amazing. Just hoping that somehow they can mate. Oh, calm down, girl. So beautiful though. Wow! Look at the patterns, this zigzag. This species is amazing. What an amazing species of moth, guys. Incredible. It's really a species worth breeding. If you can find eggs of it. Let's leave them alone. And let's leave these together in one cage. Hopefully they are going to mate. Oh, the male is very damaged, but he does seem to have some life in him left. So you have to wonder if he can find the female. In this condition, we don't know. Maybe. I don't even know if he paired with the first female. And the rest, of course, I'll keep them together in this strange little enclosures made especially for insects. More excellent news. I didn't believe my eyes when I saw another male and female last night come out of their cocoon at the same time. It's a small male and a big female. Let me show you guys. It's difficult, they like to drop themselves to the floor. Maybe I should film them on the floor, to be honest. Certainly a little bit annoying to have both of them in one frame. But I think we managed. So here we have the male and the female. As you can see, there's a big size difference. Male is much smaller than the female. Oh, good, they're finally sitting still. So here we have the male, here we have the female. They are both really healthy and gorgeous. Wow, this is a really good close-up. showing you the difference between male and female. Wow. This is a really great close-up, guys, of the zigzag emperor moth. These moths can be very hard to handle, and it's very hard to place them in position. When you touch them, they can completely freak out. So having them, both of them here, the way they are sitting right now is really, I'm really happy with this. It's unique. So it's hard to make them pose like this, but this is a perfect picture showing you the male and the female that came out last night. Now in this video, you've mostly seen me struggle because every few months we seem to have one new moth coming out. And that's one of the issues this species can have in captivity. It's just the fact that the synchronization can be hard to replicate in captivity. But I think we've done it this time. Like, this is a brand new, fresh male and female. So if I ever was going to have a pairing of this wonderful insect, then it's going to be now or literally never. Now, we already had a male and female before, so those could have mated as well. I've been told the mating of this species is very hard to document or observe because it lasts like 20 minutes at night. And I don't have the time or patience to babysit them and watch them every hour at night, let alone every 20 minutes. So I'm just gonna place them outdoor in a cage in the darkness in my garden and hope and pray they will mate. I do really love this species. Like, their patterns are just so special. They have a really satisfying natural color pattern that's made of gray, white, purple, pink. It's the color theme that really does it. Just look at how satisfying and beautiful they are. Would you look at that? Wow! Yeah, they are probably the most zigzaggy Saturniidae moths that I've reared so far. Beautiful. And this one, this is the male. You can see big difference in the antennae if you were curious. The males have very big black antennae that look like feathers. If we take a close look, the female's antennae are just very thin. It looks like a string of rope. Can you see that? It's a very big difference. Anyway, let's put them back in their enclosure. Now you've seen them. Two beautiful moths, and I want to place them inside their enclosure. There you go. This is my trashy garden shed that needs a lot of cleaning. I'm about to clean it up soon. But tonight it will fit as a home. I will just place the moths in here and wait. I will check back tomorrow in the morning. They will be here in the complete darkness. And they do need darkness to mate. Place looks really trashy. I don't care, it's my backyard. But you may be shocked to know that this is where I pair moths. Outdoors in these cages in summer. I live in the Netherlands, but in summer my country is warm. Of course, in winter you cannot keep tropical moths outside. My moths never escape. I'm very careful with that. I'm a responsible owner. And here they have natural airflow. And I hope the Gonimbrasia tyrrhea are going to mate. Let's check back tomorrow. Or actually, let's check back in... Well, let's check back tomorrow actually, after it's been dark. Ciao. Now let me tell you something unusual about this species. This species has what I would like to call silent pairings. What are silent pairings? Well, it's essentially when a moth species has pairings that last such a short time that it's very difficult to observe. If you are a fan of my YouTube channel and you watch all the MothCycles episodes, you've seen pairings happen of many species. And usually the males and females, they stay together neatly, and it's possible to observe them having sex. It's sex, guys, it's not a dirty word, it's what they are doing. You can see the copulation happening. But the problem is there is also a number of moths that only pair for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, sometimes even 5 minutes. And when they are their sexy time lasts only for a few minutes, it's very hard to see it happen at the middle of the night. Because the moths, they pair in total darkness. So you're not going to be able to see the moment where they fertilize each other. And this is called silent pairings. And this pretty much makes it a bit of a gamble, because you never really know if the eggs are fertile or not. So what I did is I kept the eggs, I kept them on room temperature. I was hoping and praying that the male and female had finally mated and produced the next gen. So, what happened then? Several weeks later, hey guys, what's up? So, something happened this morning. The female dumped all her eggs in one place. Now, if you want to breed this species, expect to never see them mate. Never. If the males and females pair, you probably won't see it, because it lasts for a really short time, I think 15 minutes. I think I said this before, but I have to stress it, because this is a breeding tutorial. And some people are going to use it as a reference. So, and a lot of people, if they breed silk moths, they are waiting for the visual confirmation that their insects are pairing. But for this species, forget about it. However, this is a short-lived species. They die very quickly in just a few days. But usually if the females are fertile, they'll literally dump their eggs in a giant cluster. See this? This is ridiculous. So last night the female, well, she sharted out here this giant ball of eggs. That's crazy. She laid all of them on top of each other. And it's kind of annoying, because now the eggs in the middle will have trouble hatching, because they are literally entombed between the other eggs. So I have to break up this egg cluster a little bit with my fingers, which is easy to do. She glues the eggs together with, I think it's like a protein. So there you go. Trying to break them up, because this giant ball of eggs is not good. Could they be fertile? I do not know, but I suspect the answer is yes. Although I literally have an insane amount of eggs, like crazy amount. Like, wow, this is too many. I'll probably have to ship some to my Patreons or some of my personal friends. I think the male, he looks very healthy. I think he can pair with another female, assuming he already mated with this female who laid all her eggs last night. Yes, you did very well, you beautiful female. But there's good news, because I had another female come out. I'd like to introduce this new female to our male. Maybe he can mate twice. It's his lucky day, I think. Wow, this is such a beautiful species, isn't it? If he can do it again, then maybe tomorrow there will be another cluster of eggs. There you go. The other pair, unfortunately, is already dead. Now, this is a really big species of moth, but at the same time they have a short lifespan. Usually they live from 7 to 10 days. And the females, they die really fast if they mate it and lay all their eggs. Like, yeah, it's very unfortunate, you know. Breeding silk moths, it takes so much time and effort for an insect that only lives for a week. That's crazy. That's it for now, folks. Now all we do is wait for the eggs to hatch on room temp. And if they do, life cycle completed. Holy macaroni will tickle my dick pickle. Today Sorry guys, if I'm overexcited, I say stupid things, okay? I try to keep this channel family friendly, but my personality doesn't allow this to happen at all times. Anyway. Well, I'm gonna skip the song. I'm not a great singer anyway. But I checked the eggs 3 weeks later. And I see a lot of caterpillars coming out here out of the eggs. So we did it, man. We completed the life cycle. The eggs took more time to hatch than most Saturniids. I think they took about 3 weeks instead of the 2 weeks it usually takes for most silk moths. But the point is, whoo, we did it! We completed the life cycle of the Zig-Zag emperor moth. It was very hard. Well, it wasn't actually, I'm lying, it was very easy. It's just actually rearing the caterpillars last year was super easy. The biggest challenge was really synchronizing the moths, making sure they come out at the same time out of the pupa. I'm gonna add some sweet gum. Let's see if I can raise the second generation of caterpillars on sweet gum and birch. So this moth will eat many plants in captivity, so I think there is a good chance that these babies are going to eat it. And the crazy thing is I have a lot of eggs left. Too many eggs, in fact. This is a crazy amount of eggs. I think all of them are gonna be fertile, so that's going to be insane. Like literally insane. Oh my god, these are just the first caterpillars. I'm going to have hundreds of them. No, that's so much. Close the lid and do some rearing soon. Anyway guys, this is legit. This is real stuff. We completed the life cycle. Yes, I'm so happy. I love it when I complete a life cycle. And it ends with more babies. Sometimes I fail to pair the moths in captivity, it happens. Getting males and females to do the sexy time can be difficult. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. You need luck to have a male and female out at the same time for animals that only live for a week. It can be difficult for other reasons too. Some species, they just don't really feel comfortable mating in captivity until certain conditions are met. In this case, it seemed to be easy, but it was impossible to observe the matings. Sometimes silk moths mate very quickly, especially at night. And if they mate for half an hour and fly away, you're not gonna see any evidence of any mating. And that's what happens with this species. I think the mating is like 10-20 minutes, maybe, I don't know. I tried to check up on them at night, but I did never see it happen. But I still keep the eggs, and the eggs, well, the caterpillars hatch, so they were fertile, they did mate, I just didn't see it. So that's cool, that's really great news. We completed the life cycle, I'm happy, I'm smiling, cheerful. Now at the end of every MothCycles, when we complete a life cycle, we have an educational part. Because I don't want to be just an influencer showing off animals on social media. It's important that my fans learn. They learn something about the biology. Otherwise it's pointless to raise animals in captivity if you don't learn from them. That's the whole point. So let me start the presentation, and after that I'll show you what happens next. I, for one, am really happy. Happy to talk about one of the most iconic Gonimbrasia species from Africa. Let's discuss the biology of Gonimbrasia tyrrhea, or the zigzag emperor moth. Are you ready to learn about an awesome species of insect today? Let's go! Another life cycle on Bart's channel. Here is a crude map that I have drawn of the zigzag emperor, or Gonimbrasia tyrrhea. It is found in South Africa, very small parts of Namibia and Lesotho. In South Africa it is found in the Transvaal Highveld, the Orange Free State, and the East and Southwest Cape Province, in the Makaland and Richtersveld. Some sources mention that this species is found, for example, in Kenya or Congo. But after taking a closer look, I'm starting to suspect that this is nonsense. people are starting to forget that there are in fact several lookalikes, such as Gonimbrasia tyrrhea from Tanzania, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Kenya. Let that sink in. Or how about Gonimbrasia fletcheri from Ethiopia? Looks similar, right? They're all from the same group. And then there are even more potential species being described. Who knows where it starts or ends? But truth is that species from Central Africa are probably another species. But that's not an issue for us today, dear viewers, because we are just going to focus on the true zigzag emperors of our story, Gonimbrasia tyrrhea, and not all the similar species that exist. Just remember, real, true and honest Gonimbrasia tyrrhea are mostly from South Africa. If not, they are probably a similar species but not the same. The habitat of Gonimbrasia tyrrhea is mostly open terrain with sporadic trees and shrubs. The environment where they can occur is arid shrublands or savanna woodlands. Conditions here are Mediterranean, dry, warm, and moderate temperatures. Fun fact: the area surrounding the South African Cape is the only Mediterranean bioregion in the Afrotropics realm. This species also occurs in plantations, and in fact it's labeled as a pest species by people that own plantations. They can feed on plants such as pine tree, apple tree, poplar tree and many more types of trees, commonly planted in the production of timber or fruit orchards. More information about that later. Of course, plantations are not a natural habitat, but an artificial one created by humans. It's worth a mention. This species can eat many plants, but one of the important ones that I single out is Vachellia karoo, also known as Acacia karoo, depending on your view of botany. This plant seems to be rather abundant in South Africa, and is one of the very important host plants for Gonimbrasia tyrrhea. Interestingly, it is also massively spiny. It is known as Cape gum or spiny acacia. It's a tree of open woodland and wooded grasslands. Perhaps this explains why the larvae have such a tough, thick skin. They must navigate dangerous spines on their food plants. Acacia or Vachellia appears to be the most important food plant, but it's certainly not the only food they eat. In fact, this species turns out to be surprisingly adaptable, and is capable of eating many introduced and not even native plants and crops. For some reason, they can feed on a lot of plants, and for this reason, they're also a minor pest of orchards and plantations. In the wild, they can browse shrubs and trees in the open landscape that this species survives in. They're also known as a defoliator, which means that caterpillars can eat so much that they strip all the trees of their leaves. Very interesting. So in the wild, they browse shrubs and trees in the open landscapes that this species survives in, and I have gathered a list of plants that they've been documented feeding on in South Africa. And it includes Cearcia pendulina from the Anacardiaceae family, Eucalyptus, Diospyros dicoides from the Anacardiaceae family, Pinus from the Pinacea family, Ozora concolor from the Anacardiaceae family, Populus and Salix from the Salicaceae family, Acacia from the Fabaceae family, Schinus molle from the Anacardiaceae, Quercus, also known as oak tree, from the Fagaceae, Prunus and Malus from the Rosaceae or the cherry or rose family, and, well, Eucalyptus of course. But many of the food plants are also undocumented. That's right, many of their native indigenous food plants are not well documented. Ironically, it seems that in many cases we know more about the introduced food plants that insects like to eat, rather than the actual native food plants that they use to sustain themselves. Strange. Which is why I want to say, if you live in South Africa, Namibia or Lesotho, and you see wild caterpillars feeding on their wild indigenous food plants, please take a picture and email them to me to get the plant that they eat identified. Email your pictures and information to bart.coppens@hotmail.com. It is my personal email, so please do not abuse it. The larvae are capable of wandering from food plant to food plant, after defoliating trees in some cases. They appear to be adapted to navigating hot, dry and open terrain, with a thick leathery skin that may help them with water retention and perhaps protects them from injuries. We can only speculate why the larvae are white, but we can imagine some of the white reflects the most sunlight, which prevents them from overheating. Anyway, that's just me speculating. I don't think anybody has researched this, so just take this as gossip or suggestions. Some sources label these species as a pest. Oh no, why is that? Let's take a closer look. It seems that farmers complain about this moth species when it enters plantations. Specifically tree plantations. Time to examine the problem. First things first. After doing some research, I discovered that forests cover less than 0.4% to 0.25% of the surface area of South Africa. That's quite unusual because it isn't much if you think about it. Natural forests cover about 0.5 million hectares in South Africa. But then there can be artificial forests or plantations. The interesting thing to learn about plantation forests in South Africa is that they are man-made. They are created by planting trees on non-forested land. The planted compartments comprise almost exclusively non-indigenous, commercially profitable tree species. Even more astonishingly, plantation forest covers 1.2 million hectares in South Africa. Yeah, now we're starting to see the real problem. Because man-made forests actually take up way more space than natural forests do. Natural forests cover about 0.5 million hectares, while artificial man-made forests cover 1.2 million hectares. So in terms of surface area, it seems that man-made plantations cover 1% of the land surface area compared to 0.4% natural forests. But it isn't the fault of humans that South Africa has so little forest. You see, this is natural. South Africa tends to be covered with open biomes. One of such environments is fynbos. It is mostly found in the Cape provinces of South Africa. This area is predominantly coastal and mountainous, with a Mediterranean climate and rainy winters. The fynbos ecoregion is within the Mediterranean forests, woodlands and scrub biome. It tends to have many unique evergreen plants from the heath or Ericaceae family. And also Proteaceae plants can be common here. It is more like an open shrubland in a lot of the time. The succulent karoo can be flat plains or hills in extremely arid environments, with little rainfall and many temperature extremes. The vegetation is dominated by dwarf succulent shrubs, of which the veges, the Mesembryanthemacea, what a name, and the stone crops or Crassulaceae are particularly prominent. Mass flowering displays of annuals, mainly daisies or Asteraceae and related plants, occur in spring. Deserts are also present in South Africa. Even a part of the Kalahari Desert is present in South Africa near the border of Botswana. Namakaroo is a form of shrubland, found in the open plateau in South Africa and Namibia. The Namakaroo biome occurs in the central plateau of the western half of South Africa. It is the second largest biome in South Africa, with topography that varies from expansive rocky or sandy plains to flat-topped mesas. This region is generally hot and windy in the summers and very cold in the winters with fairly low rainfall. It seems that the local vegetation mostly consists of dwarf shrubs. The savanna. It takes up a third of South Africa alone. This biome is defined by a well-developed grassy layer with a prominent woody layer of trees and shrubs. Notice how many of these biomes are basically open grasslands or shrublands, and so far aren't really forested at all. Grassland is different from savanna. First of all, it tends to get a little bit more rainfall. Grassland is generally dominated by a single layer of grasses. And finally, we also have thicket biomes. It is characterized by sparse to dense, spiny evergreen shrub vegetation with a tree component of varying proportions. Finally, we have forest. Anyway, notice how many types of terrain South Africa has. A lot of them are in fact not natural forests. And other ones that I've shown you earlier have more sparse and shorter vegetation. And now we are slowly getting into the root of the problem, because in order to create these plantations, land that was originally not forested is converted into forest. That is the root cause of this issue. Hey, this image is not scientifically accurate, in the sense that I did not check if any of these species actually occur together in South Africa, but let's assume they do. I'm going to show you a simple metaphor, a little simplification. In this image we see a natural environment with many native species that thrive in it. We see bats, birds, and in this case a bee-eater and even various moths and butterflies. They all belong in this natural environment and are adapted to it. If we change this environment suddenly into a plantation, however, something happens. The species that are not adapted to feed on the host plants that now dominate the landscape will not survive. For example, in a plantation with pine trees, only moths and butterflies that use pine tree as a host will survive. Same with any other tree, such as poplars or fruit trees. So what will happen next? We will start losing biodiversity. The other species of insects pretty much disappear, because they don't have the host plants they need to survive. However, one species of moth is well adapted to these trees. Now it has no competition and pretty much unlimited food. All the species that used to live here are now pretty much replaced by the only species that can. Since the biodiversity of insects has declined, so do their predators. Even though one species has become abundant here, predators typically rely on a variety of species to feed themselves with. Since most of the other insects are gone, the predators also disappear. Due to a total lack of natural enemies and pretty much unlimited supplies of food, the few species that survive in this environment begin to proliferate. This is how you create a commercial pest species. Congratulations! Perhaps the problem is not the zigzag emperor moth Gonimbrasia tyrrhea, but the crazy amount of unnatural plantations where very few wild animals can survive. And those that do, pretty much own a monopoly on the place. Moths are actually very important sources of food. Bats and birds love to eat moths. Especially big species like zigzag emperors are a valuable meal. Both the moths and their caterpillars are consumed by many insectivores. The reason that this species can proliferate in plantations is probably because they are very adaptable and polyphagous. They can feed on many types of plants, including foreign introduced species, such as many commercial fruit trees or commercial hardwood trees. But honestly, we need more biodiversity and less monoculture. In captivity, the moths can do weird things. But in the wild, they have one brood per year most of the time, but not always. Apparently in some years there is plenty of rain. And early rains And when that happens, they can have a second brood near December if there's early rains, while the first and main brood emerges from April to June. This species occurs mostly in a warm Mediterranean climate with mild, moderately wet winters and dry, warm summers, such as the South African Cape. In captivity, they should face gentle cold, and pupa can hibernate. From June to September, Cape Town experiences cooler temperatures, averaging between 9 degrees Celsius to 17 degrees Celsius. Another interesting fact about these moths is that they have a short lifespan compared to other large moths. Don't be shocked if yours die in just a couple of days. It doesn't mean something is wrong with them. No. These large silk moths truly have a lifespan of just a few days, usually between 3 and 7 days. Most large silk moths live for up to 2 weeks, but the lifespan of this species is just much shorter. Females usually dump all their eggs at once, laying them in one big cluster on the host plant. Thanks for watching folks, that was all. I hope you've been educated. Can you believe that we actually raise this species? I think it's fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, the eggs are hatching. That's right. Let me show you. Looks like the next generation is growing well. I may just be tempted to breed even more of these awesome moths. Let's see if the next generation can eat sweet gum. I hope you enjoyed the show. I work hard to make it happen. The content is very time-consuming to make, just for a very small audience. Thankfully, I had some help behind the scenes in the making of this video. And before I end it, I'd like to give a big shout out to the people who have helped me. Let me teach you about them. Wow, we did it! Gonimbrasia tyrrhea. I hope you enjoyed this episode of MothCycles. It took me a long time to make. And I have some great news for you to share. I obtained one of the rarest moon moths in the pet trade. One of the rarest species of moon moth that a breeder can breed in captivity. It is only found on one island in the mountains, in the country and island of Taiwan. Behind the scenes, I am working with one of the rarest species of moon moth that you can possibly get in captivity. And I am hoping to film its life cycle with your support, so subscribe and stay tuned to see this happen. It would be legendary if we can do Actias nidhoferi. What's cool is this species is unusually small. It's smaller than any of the moon moths that I've ever raised before. And if you subscribe to my channel, I'm gonna try to film its life cycle, so please stay tuned. But that is not all, ladies and gentlemen, that is not all, because we have something to celebrate today. Something really special. You see, earlier this year, one person brought a year's worth of membership to one of the highest tiers on my Patreon. A year's worth at once. And this was effectively, more or less, a $650 donation by the person named Jack B. Jack, for your privacy, I am not going to reveal your whole name. But because of that, we are having the sparkles today. I wonder if these things are even going to cooperate. Jack, this is for you. If you contribute this much to my channel, you're gonna get at least a special shout out. It's the least I can do. Oh god, I have second thoughts about this. Come on. Oh, it went off. Thankfully, I have more matches, so first round, no problem. It's always a bit... Oh, come on! Again? Some of the worst quality matches that I've ever seen, man. Come on. It's windy. Ah! We cannot give up. We have to. No! Ever seen a man-child try to light fireworks for children? No? Come on. Ah! Burn! And hold up. Maybe I have to hold it like this so it keeps burning. That's it. Come on, fire, do your job. Do your job. Come on. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Ridiculous. I'm sorry, Jack. I told you you're so... No! I am literally starting to run out of matches. I'm not kidding. This is insane. What is this quality? Come on. Come on, guys. Are you kidding? Help! I feel like a junkie who's not... No! Stop this at once! Come on. Come on, guys. How does this work? Man, these are the horrible matches, really. Are you kidding? Come on. Burn. Ah! This is starting to be more entertaining than a moth breeding video at this point. I think these matches are honestly not suitable for whatever I'm doing. Come on, burn. This should work. Why is it not working? Shouldn't it ignite? Man, these things are worthless. Did it just scorch the end of it? The tip is burned. It's supposed to be flammable. Jeez, who designed these things? Yeah, this is the last, literally my last match, by the way. That was almost a whole box full of completely worthless matches. Worthless, I'm telling. This is the last one. It's gonna be really iconic if this works, because this is literally my last match. Come on. Yeah, it's not working for some reason. Are you kidding? Like literally it's so... Ow! What's wrong? Downish, I'm a little man-child, am I not? But I brought some heavier equipment. Look, it's like a torch. Yes! And it works. Oh, Jack, this is for you. Here's the sparkles. If you contribute to this much to my channel, that's when we're gonna get the sparkles, ladies and gentlemen. Jack, thanks to your huge donation of $650, I am able to make more episodes of MothCycles in 1 year than I have ever been. For the people watching this right now, there's something that you really need to know. And that is that my YouTube channel is demonetized by YouTube. Really, let me show you. I don't make any money from these videos. Not a single cent, not a single penny. YouTube doesn't pay me. The only money that I make from YouTube is what people donate to my channel. And that's why I have crowdfunding. Therefore, I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what I do on YouTube, if you appreciate and value it, consider donating to my YouTube channel. Because that is really the budget I use to make more videos. The more people contribute to my channel, the bigger and better things that I can do. Of course, I am not entitled to any financial help just because I make entertaining videos. I would never expect such a thing. It is not mandatory, and everybody is welcome to watch my videos for free and enjoy them, because I believe information should be freely accessible in this world. I'm gonna get another sparkle before they burn out. Hold on, hold on. Can we do this on time? Ooh, ooh. I have one more. There's 3 of them. But I have to ignite it with my other sparkles. Oh yeah. I'd also like to dedicate the third sparkle to another person. Ow! That burned me. Because during the making of this episode, I also got a €90 donation by somebody called John. And I believe your name, I hope I don't mispronounce it, is John Metcalf. So, Jack and John, thank you guys so much if you are watching. This episode is here because of you. And of course, because of all my other loyal patrons. I am really lucky to have such a generous and dedicated small little fan base. And honestly, these are huge contributions for a small YouTube channel like mine. It means there's people out there that really believe in what I do and what I am capable of. And for that, I am thankful, guys. I am thankful. If you like what I do, guys, consider becoming a Patreon member. Believe it or not, a lot of YouTubers complain that their life is hard because they have to record themselves playing video games. But these videos are serious work. I've been filming this video for over 6 months. And it's been in production for over a year. So yeah, let that sink in. There's not many people that do what I do. I'm one of the only big moth YouTube channels. And aside from the occasional clickbait, I actually make educational stuff. I have made over 1,600 insect videos in my life. And I'm not talking just short clips that I filmed with my camera. No, some of them are over several hours long. Over 1,600 videos. My channel contributes to research and insect conservation and public outreach and education. Because thanks to my channel, people can learn about these insects extensively and see their life cycles. And it's because of you guys that it happens. Without your guys' help, this channel would not be so big, and it would not have the production value that it currently does. And it's only going to get bigger and better thanks to you guys. Wow. So John and Jack, a special shout out to you in this video for your massive help. Because of you, this year we are going to have a lot of MothCycles episodes. My most popular web series, but also the most intense to produce, costing months or years of filming. That is some serious time and resources that I don't have to make YouTube videos, if it weren't for your financial help. Now guys, I am a YouTuber that is true to his mission. I am not here on YouTube to fill my own pockets. Everything that you guys donate goes towards insects in some way or another. Either way, it helps me make more videos by compensating for all the free time and equipment that I need to make more videos. Which is a struggle sometimes, making such long niche videos for a small niche audience is very difficult and time consuming. And because of your contributions it becomes possible. But other than that, I have proven myself. I have traveled to all over the globe to document and film rare species of moths, to research them, study them and document them, making thousands of videos, writing thousands of articles. I have hundreds of pages on my website. I have made books, guides, podcasts, interviews and more. You guys are helping me spread the word about insects and educate the world about them. And if that isn't a good cause, then I don't know what is. Maybe you don't care about Patreon, you think it's a stupid website, or you just don't want to become a member with a subscription. Another way to really support my channel is to check out my Etsy web shop. I have a little web store in which I sell things like books, framed insects and other stuff. Let me show you what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, on my Etsy web shop you can get framed insects and butterflies From me personally, I use the insects that died from old age when I breed the insects in captivity, so it's completely ethical. They are not poached from the wild or killed. If you want any of that stuff, check out my Etsy. I'll show you a small QR code. 3, 2, 1. Boom! That's it. Another life cycle completed. Another species filmed. Another life cycle down. Let's move on to the next species of insect. Next one is gonna be even prettier and more impressive. I'll show you the credits of all the people who subscribe to my Patreon. See you in the next episode of MothCycles. Ciao. Boy oh boy, I am never using this brand of matches again. Useless junk. Still watching? Check out the MothCycles playlist. You're still here after all this time? You must really like the content. If you like this video so much, why don't you take a look at the MothCycles playlist on my channel?